Here, all right, all right. So welcome to the July 10th meeting at the Rotary Club of Brentwood. My name is Keely Hall, and I am honored to serve as this distinguished club's president. Tom Carr has our invitation this morning, followed by Dick Bowers with the pledge and four-way test. So I will let Tom take over.
All right. If you'll pray with me. Our hearts are full, dear Lord, for the many blessings that you've given us, for the fertile fields and running rivers of our beloved country, for the time to live and enjoy them, and for the freedom to walk with you. For all these things, dear Lord, we are eternally grateful to you. And Father, when we peer into the future anxiously about the days yet to be, help us to remember that our times are in your good hands. We have today. Grant us the wisdom to use it well so that when it is past, we'll have nothing to regret. Amen.
Amen.
And Mr. Bowers?
We know he's there.
Would you join me to the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now join me in the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First,
is it the truth?
Second, is it
fair to all concerned?
Third, will it
build goodwill and better friendships?
And fourth, will it
be beneficial to all
concerned?
Thank you to both Tom and Dick on that. We are now going to, Betsy and Jane are both actually out of town. So I am going to scroll through here and introduce guests and visiting Rotarians, but I will rely on some of our spies in the audience to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Jennifer's got an introduction, a special introduction of a new member a little bit later. But right now,
I have a guest too.
Oh, that's right. You do have a guest. Okay, so I'm going to let you introduce your guest, and then later on we'll have you introduce your new member.
Okay, so my guest today is Dr. Margie Johnson. You see her up there. Wave at her. Margie. Margie is she is a parent here in Williamson County. She lives in Nolensville. She works for Metro Nashville Public Schools, and she is running for District 5 School Board. What is it, Commissioner? Is that what they call it? I don't know what they call that.
Oh, hold on. School board member, just member.
There you go. So I met her a couple weeks ago, and I invited her to come and meet some of our folks here, but she is running for District 5. Margie, you want to tell them just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so thank you, Jennifer, and everyone for letting me be a guest today. I am running for the District 5 seat, which is now open because Gary Anderson, who I think he served the board for 30 years, is stepping down, retiring. I'm running for this position because I'm passionate about education. You know, I have 24 years of experience and a doctorate degree in educational leadership. I have 3 sons who, you know, obviously we want public schools to be great for not only my children, but all children. And really, I'm running to further serve my community. I'm really involved in the Nolensville Youth Athletics here. And, you know that we have amazing students, and using my expertise in education, that's how I want to further serve my community. So thank you again for letting me be part of this meeting, and I'm looking forward to learning from you all.
Thanks, Margie, for coming.
Yes, welcome, Margie. Do we have any other guests or visiting Rotarians that I am not currently able to see on my view? I don't think so. All right. How about we do some happy bucks? Again, we don't have a basket, obviously, to virtually pass. That would be quite a trick if we could figure that out. But if you want to PayPal, or we can drop it in the bucket later on. Anybody have any happy buck moments you want to share?
I'll start. I want to announce that it's a happy bucks, but that I want to announce that our own Marsha Blackburn and her daughter are going to be on Good Morning America next Friday to talk about their kids' book that I'm publishing called Camilla Can Vote, and it's about the women's suffrage movement. It's a really cute children's book. Tennessee played an important role in ratifying women's right to vote. And so they'll be on Good Morning America on the 3rd hour next Friday and on Fox and Friends on next Saturday morning.
Awesome. Who else has happy bucks?
I got a happy buck. My daughter-in-law, Misha Lee Covington, has started her medical residency at Brigham and Women's in Boston, having finished up her PhD. And my son, who is the associate conductor of the Utah Symphony Orchestra, is technically still the associate conductor of the Utah Symphony Orchestra, but they're not doing much these days. So he has left Utah and gone to Boston and will stay there. So they're finally a happy couple together for a few more months.
All right, open floor for anybody else. All right.
Happy.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm happy because Keely is doing an excellent job in his role as president, making tough decisions right off the bat. So good job, Keely. I know that was a very hard decision to have us go to the Zoom meeting, but it was the right one. So good job.
Thanks, Sarah. And that kind of leads into just my announcement portion, which is, of course, this is not the way that any of us, including myself, had envisioned my first meeting to go. It's disappointing. I think it is necessary, but still certainly disappointing for many, including myself. The board of directors will meet on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, and we'll discuss this further. We'll talk about how we're going to monitor the situation and how we're going to reassess and all of that sort of thing. So no timeline set for right now, other than we do not see this as being permanent, but no timeline other than that set for our Zoom meetings for the time being, for the foreseeable immediate future. We are going to have all of our meetings on Zoom only as the format, but we're going to do our best to try to keep it fun and different each time. It's a task because Zoom is not anybody's preferred method. So we'll do the best we can. One of those things that we're going to do is we're going to have some prizes for some things. So I will say, and I literally, this is moments of honesty with your president, Keely Hall. I tried to figure out how to do this before the meeting today, and I could not. So the first prize today goes out to whoever can figure out how to change their background to a Rotary themed background. On your mark, get set, go. Then we'll also give a prize out to somebody, the first person who's able after the meeting, after 1 o'clock today, to post to the club's LinkedIn site. So whoever can change their background, that does not count, Mr. Bowers. You have to actually change your background. Whoever can change their background to Rotary and put it in the comment screen that I've changed my background, you get a prize. It'll be a Rotary cap, hat, or something equivalent of your choice. And then the next prize goes to whoever posts after 1 o'clock to the club's LinkedIn website. On that note, to give Devin the ability to actually use his business resources for, business, Sarah has graciously donated her Zoom account for the club's use over the next 12 months or 11 and partial months. And we will begin using that link soon. I will send that out to the club in an email, and it will also be published in Reflections every week going forward. So look for that new link. Don't show up here at this link next time or wherever this link takes you, Jennifer, or Who knows? So be looking for that new link. Go to that link next time. I think Devin has volunteered perhaps to log into this one and just make sure there are no stragglers, but we will be shifting to a new Zoom link starting with next week's meeting so that Devin can, make money and stuff. Also.
Hey, Keely, can I add one thing?
Yes,
and I'm
ma'am.
also going to try to individually email each club member between now and Friday so they can at least put it on their calendars if they choose to with the correct information.
Awesome. All right, I will confess right now, I don't know if Jennifer's went up or Steve's went up first. So it looks like Steve is the one that posted first in the chat that he changed it. So I tell you what, both of you, we'll get you both of you a hat or an item of your choice from the Rotary store. So I'll get with both of y'all after this. Before I move on, Devin has graciously been donating his account for weeks and weeks and weeks. Devin and Linus both have donated their time and their expertise for weeks and weeks and weeks, and both are inexplicably volunteering their time going forward as well. I just cannot express my thanks enough to both of them. Thank you guys. Thank you to Linus and to Devin both for being our tech support guys. Also, if there is anybody else in the club or of another club member that would be good to join that team, to help Devin and Linus out, to be backup in case one of them's out of town or whatever it may be. We would love to have another volunteer or two to join that tech team. If you are familiar with Zoom, or if you're just comfortable with technology in general and are willing to learn Zoom, please let me know ASAP. I would love to add you to that team. All right, moving on. So Jennifer Bourne, we do have a new member to introduce. Jennifer, take it away.
Yay! My eyes got real big. We have a new member. She is my friend, and she is a almost, as of July 23rd, graduate of the Leadership Brentwood class of 2020. Please meet Riju Davis. Yay, she's on the call. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Riju. Aside from Leadership Brentwood, that's how I met her. She has been, prior to this, she has been a Girl Scouts troop leader. She has been a part of the Williamson County PTO boards. She is currently the PTO president for Ravenwood High School. So she has her hands full. She is married. Is it Mikani?
Mikhail, K-A-H-L.
That's an H-L. Mikhail. And one thing about Riju is, part of Leadership Brentwood, I've said this in the past, is that we ask you to come to a Rotary meeting. I always encourage them to come to our meetings. Lynn wins sometimes, for those of you who know Leadership Brentwood. But she came and visited our meeting, and she enjoyed our meeting. Her daughter applied for one of our scholarships. So a couple weeks ago, Riju was on the call, and her daughter was one of the recipients of our scholarship. And from my conversations with Riju, this just, she wanted to serve our community. So she reached out after she came to visit and talked to me about what would be a good way. And this is a great way. So I'm very excited. She's going to be a fantastic member. Not that we all are, but I'm super excited to have Riju join us as a Rotarian. And as you can tell from the previous, at the beginning of the call, she fits in quite well. So
Thank you. Thank you.
So yay, welcome.
Awesome. Welcome, Riju.
Thank you, everyone. I'm super excited, and I look forward to being a part of this great group. I'm really excited.
And we look forward to having you, and we know that you will be a great member because Riju has already volunteered to be a part of a committee. So she, before she was ever a member, she sent me an email and volunteered for something. So that's fantastic. That's a servant's heart, and we look forward to getting to know you better and to serving with you.
Same here. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I think that does it for our announcements. If I have missed one, pipe in now. All right. Then it is my pleasure to introduce today's speaker. Today's speaker is an esteemed and admired advisor with Wells Fargo Advisors, but more importantly, he's an esteemed and admired member of our club. Ladies and gentlemen, the man who really needs no introduction, but I have given him one anyway, Charles Grummon.
Thank you. That was so nice. Can I have you walk into rooms ahead of me and make that kind of introduction?
Anytime, anytime.
That reminds me, now I assume I'm not the only one who watched Hamilton this weekend. I was lucky enough to see it on stage some time ago, but it was wonderful to see it on the screen. And they had these fabulous introductions, especially at the beginning of the second act, right before Thomas Jefferson came on. I need that kind of Thomas Jefferson introduction, Keely. Can you work on that?
I will work on that, and I will work on my best Daveed Diggs impersonation while doing so.
If anybody could do it, it'd be you. Great. Well, hey, it's wonderful to be here with everyone who could be here. I'm also very disappointed we couldn't do this in person. We are people, every one of us. And it's a shame that we can't be people today, but I know we'll be back as soon as possible. Today, of course, I'm honored to be asked to talk about India. This club has been very generous in supporting some projects that we've done in India, and I'm here to talk about the latest one. My family went and visited in December to see the installation of 4 technology labs that our club, in cooperation with our district, paid for, sponsored, and in cooperation with a local club that supervised the project. So this is going to be in 3 parts. I just want to talk a little bit about why my family is involved in this and why we think it's special. I want to touch on the floor thing, and then the floor project we did a couple years ago. And then I want to show a video that my son shot and a friend of his edited, and still leave maybe 7 to 10 minutes for questions. So the organization that we're ultimately supporting is called Homes of Hope India. And the way we got onto this, my wife Rupa, who of course has visited the club numerous times and works as a nurse practitioner over at the Heritage just down the street from where we used to meet, and we'll meet again one day. She was adopted from India when in 1982, her parents, who were simple people without a lot of money, dropped into the hospital to have their third or fourth child. And when they discovered it was a girl, it was just too much. In India at the time, and still in rural areas, but I think not so much in the cities now, families are expected to pay a large dowry when their daughter gets married, and they were already facing 3, and there was just no way they could do a 4th. And so they felt economically forced to give her up for adoption. She was adopted by a wonderful family who was actually Indian. They moved to the United States, and Rupa grew up in the United States and also in Singapore. Her father was an executive with Monsanto, and she spent most of her childhood in Singapore. But nonetheless, she grew up raised by Indian parents. But she was adopted, and so her heart, as you can imagine, has always been with orphans and with Indian orphans and maybe female Indian orphans. So early on in our marriage, we agreed that we were going to try to find a way to support these girls in some way. And so, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, we got on the lookout for a charity that was US based. We wanted them to be easily vetted so we would feel confident that any money we gave went to the right people. And we came upon Homes of Hope. Homes of Hope is an organization run by a guy named Paul Wilkes, who's a retired journalist. And he went to India on vacation and sort of discovered the problem of Indian girl orphans. There are various orders of the Catholic Church who just go out there in third world countries, and they just find orphans and they take them in any way they can. It's really, really remarkable. And so he found a group of Indian Salesian sisters of the Catholic Church who were taking in girls all over the country and just sheltering them in abandoned buildings and the whole thing. And he realized that he just couldn't live with that, knowing that was going on. So he dedicated the remainder of his life, he's still very much with us, to raising money in the United States to build orphanages for girls in India, where they would not only be sheltered, but be educated. And fabulous business model. I know we're all business people here, and it's really brilliant because the labor is free. These nuns are amazing. They'll do anything. Commitment is just unbelievable. And they're very smart and they're very organized. And if you give them a building, they will open up a neighborhood school and charge the kids who can afford it to attend the school, and then they can use the money to pay for the expenses of the orphanage for the girls. And then of course the girls can attend the school. Brilliant business model. And the slight barrier to entry, you got to raise $300,000 to $500,000. But if you can raise $300,000 to $500,000, build a building for these sisters, you can literally hand it to them and walk away, and they'll run it forever using the proceeds they make from running a school. Brilliant. So he's done 15, 16 of these. My wife is on the board now. They build a couple a year now. It's amazing how successful this has been. So we've gone to India twice now to visit. In her role as a board member, we have to go visit and just make sure everything's going well, and it always is. The sisters are amazing. We came back once and asked the Rotary Club to support building a new floor for one of these homes because it had become old and rats were digging up from underneath. All the buildings, many of the buildings in India are built around open courtyards because it's quite warm and they oftentimes don't have AC. And this open courtyard had a very poor floor, and it was bad news. And the club about 2 years ago very generously stepped up and offered to tear that floor out and replace it with beautiful heavy marble flooring, which would prevent even the strongest of the rats could not turn over one of those big marble tiles. And it was spectacular, huge success. I'm so grateful to the members of this club for generously donating. I want to say it was around $9,000 about 2 years ago. And I've now been and stood on that floor and heard the girls talk about how much they enjoy it. It's changed their experience entirely. They can very safely and confidently use the outdoor space. And it's the flattest, smoothest surface that they have. So they use it for all kinds of things, running around and playing, of course, but any kind of art project, anything that requires, a level, dry, smooth surface, they've got it. They've got a fabulous one. And it's thanks to the generosity of this club. So thank you very much for that. Okay, so last year, a couple of people came forward and said, we'd love to do more international projects. Is there something else we can do for one of these Homes of Hope? And I went to the sisters and asked them that question. And they said, well, we're pretty happy. Paul Wilkes has taken fabulous care of us, providing us with these buildings. The girls are safe, they're fed, they're getting educated, they're loved. But if you had to ask us what else could we do, here we are. Many of these homes are in Bangalore, India. Bangalore is one of the centers of technology in India. There are several, but Bangalore is one of them. And they said, just a few miles away, there are smart young Indians getting fabulous jobs with multinational corporations, doing technology, whether it's call centers that we're all familiar with, but they do so much more over there. They do software development, they do engineering, they do all kinds of outsourced white collar work. And that work is just a couple of miles away from these girls, but it might as well be a galaxy away, because there's three things you got to have. And there's endless demand for it. There are far more jobs for hardworking young Indians than there is for the country to meet that, which I know is funny because we have that problem here in the United States, but even in India, they have that problem. There's just not enough Indians over there who have the tech skills and the English skills to fill these jobs. And the sisters are well aware of this. And so they said, look, if you can help us get our girls some some English education, and if you could somehow provide us some technology so they come out not just educated, but tech educated, just basic level. The companies can train, but they want to start with people who have a basic familiarity. So my family and I have taken on providing a little tuition money so the girls can attend English language schools. And it's amazing how inexpensive that is. $250 will put a girl through a full private English school. So we took on as many as we could. And if there's anyone out there who would like to see some more Indian girls in English language schools so that they can participate in the economic miracle, please reach out to me. I know some who'd love to go. Compare that to $30,000 at Harpeth Hall. It's quite a bargain, $250 a year. And then came the technology question. So I came back to our club and said, okay, what they would really like is computer labs so that they can get the girls ready for these high-tech jobs. So we went back and forth with the district. What are we allowed to do with these projects? What can we not do with these projects? And they said, we can do computer labs. So let me tell you, for those of you who are planning on doing a project like this, the club is very serious about knowing where their money is going. We had, and so is the district, We had lots of rounds of what are we allowed to buy, what are we not allowed to buy. Our organization, the Brentwood Charitable Foundation was incredibly helpful, so helpful. The whole Larry Kane, everyone on the committee, Susie Lindsay went especially above and beyond. Can you call it above and beyond with Susie? Because that's what she always does. She lives in above and beyond. In making sure that we built this thing so that it would get approved by our club and by the district. And ultimately, I believe the number was $30,000. So we got $30,000 between our club and the district, and sent it over there, partnered with a local club, of course, so they could supervise the whole thing, make sure everything was done the Rotary way. All the reports have to be filed, everything has to be supervised, and we got all that done. So the installation of these 4 computer labs in these 4 different homes took place in November and December, really right before my family showed up in late December. We left on Christmas Day, flew over there, and actually we went to London first. We actually arrived in Bangalore on New Year's Day and visited each of the 4 homes, laid eyes on every single one of the everything that we had purchased, checked it off the list. The sisters knew the drill. These are very efficient women. They knew we needed to see everything. They knew we needed to check it off, and they were happy to show it to us. And then we got to talk to them a lot about what this would mean, and what and talk to the girls too about what it meant to them. So if you don't mind, Linus, I'd love to go through some of the Facebook pictures. We have this great video that I'm anxious to show, but let's do the Facebook pictures first. What do we got here? Okay. All right. So these are some pictures that I put up on our website in January when we got back. And Linus, if you would just sort of count to 1 and then move on, because we're going to see a lot of the same images in the video here in just a minute. But the little girl Sophie, there's a beautiful girl, so wonderful. Oh, did I? Okay, I'm still on, right? I got a message saying that I crashed, but looks like I'm still here. Okay, so Linus if you'll just keep going through, Linus, and we're going to see some images of some of the materials that we bought. Oh, we go forward. I see you trying to go left. Let's go right. There we go. Uh-oh, Linus might be frozen. Oh, you gotta love technology. When it works, it's brilliant. And am I the only one who sees it not advancing? Are we having issues, Linus? No. There's me. Did we lose it?
I'm sorry, Charles. I had myself on mute. I had to get myself back to the main screen. I'm gonna share again. Sorry about that. Let me try this again.
I think that I speak for all of us when I say this is not the worst thing that we've seen on Zoom in the last 4 months.
So do you want me to go forward or backward?
Forward.
Okay.
So to the right.
Yep.
I'm sure it'll pop up here in just a second. It was meeting with these girls was really fabulous. They live in these homes where they have anywhere from 25 to as many as 150 girls in one home, and they seem to get along really well. But of course, all of us with children, we know that the kids always seem so great when you visit other people's children, don't they? And then the parents say, "Oh, they're not on this kind of behavior all the time." But all I saw was a bunch of smiling, happy girls. They were so friendly. They were so anxious to welcome us, to show us where they live, to teach us their games. Most of them do not speak English. So we had, everyone says that everyone speaks English in India. Unfortunately, that is not true. I wish it was, or more likely, I wish I spoke their language. Every single state in India has their own language. And virtually all of them speak 4 or 5 languages. They speak their own language, and then they typically speak the language of every province that touches their province. And sometimes they speak English. Unfortunately, we find that oftentimes they didn't, and so we don't get to communicate as clearly as we'd like. Let's see if we can get to this. But we had a great time. You know, with kids, you can always communicate through games and songs, and we did a lot of that. And they were so graceful or grateful. That's like gracious is the term I'm looking for. With my kids, they loved Sophie. I think they were fascinated by her light skin because they couldn't make a bigger deal out of. They just kept holding her and touching her arm and pointing out how light her skin was, which was amusing. And they thought my son was very amusing. My then 15-year-old son. Many of the teenagers obviously were about the same age, and it was fun watching them try to communicate a little teenage culture across the language barrier. I'm somewhat disappointed and somewhat amused that the thing that they seemed to enjoy the most was my son showing them how to throw gang signs. He taught, I can't do it, of course, but some of you with kids, if you do this just the right way, you can make it spell blood. And of course, pampered suburban teenage boys love to pretend they're gangsters. And I guess Indian girls love, to play that same game. So he taught them how to do that with their hands, and they were endlessly amused. And my wife and I were just sort of face palming that particular one. Are we, Linus, if we need to give up on Facebook and go straight to the video, we certainly can.
Charles, I mean, I've gotten through the end of the pictures. Do you want me to?
Oh, I can't see it.
Okay. Is everybody else able to see it?
You can see it. I can see it.
Yeah, it's just me.
Yeah, we can see it.
I can see it too, yep.
Okay, all right. Well, that's fine. I've seen them before. So somewhere in there, I apologize. I wanted to pause and.
Charles, are you on a phone or a laptop?
He crashed.
Hey, there we go.
That's not good. We lost the presenter.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, and now I can see it. Great. So somewhere in there, we don't need to go through them again. Somewhere in there, you saw pictures of computer labs and solar water heaters and tanks of water. You saw them. Those are there's that beautiful floor that you all purchased. So I just want you to be able to actually see. There's that floor. That floor is spectacular. Look at that. It looks like a 5-star hotel. Those are just a few of the things that you purchased. And the girls were very excited. There's him showing them. There's my son showing the girls how to make the blood thing. I hope they've already forgotten, but it's probably the one thing they remember. So there it is. Okay, so now why don't we go ahead and watch the video? My son took video of the experience. My son is no videographer, so I'm going to ask in advance that you have a little patience with what he chose to film and so on. Fortunately, he has a friend named Ty Anderson who's quite good at editing it all together. So Ty did a great job of editing it together. I think he would have preferred to take the footage as well, but he wasn't there, so he didn't get to. It's about 13 minutes long, and we'll get a sense of what this experience was like, and that'll leave us 5 to 8 minutes for questions at the end.
Is the home at Auxilium Navajivana Chamrajpet to visit Sister Anna and see the interior courtyard floor that the Rotary Club of Brentwood renovated 2 years ago.
This is Sophie.
Yeah. Sophie.
Charles Grummon. Yes, What's your name?
Right. So now are you able, they can do whatever they want?
Everything.
Yeah.
It is done perfectly well, so no problem with this.
So the drainage,
yeah,
all
drainage goes underneath like that.
They like to clean here.
Then all these tiles were coming up. So many years since it was, so all these tiles were coming up, and the children were not able to even walk around here. So it is because of you able to now. So many things we are doing here: playing, eating, sitting and studying, writing, everything they do here.
It is very nice. Thank you so much for making this place so wonderful.
This is the first time that we've gone to one of the iceless lands. Yeah, it looks like a modern mansion.
Okay. So how do you support the ongoing expenses of this facility?
Ongoing expenses the province now doing. Province, no?
Like the government?
No. Our own, the head office they are doing. Head office, no, of us, sisters head office they are doing.
So
not from the government.
Not from the government. So is it
the Catholic Church, donations to the Catholic Church, or the sisters?
Sisters are doing it.
Okay, they literally just raise money in the community.
In the community.
Okay. Okay.
From other places where they have schools, they pull together and give these people.
Okay.
They did not write anything.
Oh, okay. They're not ready yet. All right.
This is vegetables.
I wonder what. Do you know the English
Small
word?
ones.
Do you know?
Chiku.
It's so pretty out here. Now where?
I'm from Chamrajpet.
Oh, okay. We were just there. We were just there an hour ago. Okay. And are you gonna stay here?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 17.
17. So you're in school now. What standard are you in?
First PU.
You're in first PU.
After a tour of the grounds, we have a little time to get to know them better. The girls help prepare a homemade meal. Then we are taken up to the roof to see the solar water heater and more.
So,
how about that?
And for 200 children we can use.
This heats water for 200
children we can.
And you only have 100 here, 150.
150 is our target.
So you have plenty, so they can just run the hot water.
Yeah. This one, what do you call it?
Lightning conductor.
What do you call it, sister? That borewell. Borewell connections will be there to that tanks.
Right.
Severe pipe. See,
Yep.
two children, no?
Yep.
So
they each have a
two.
locker. I noticed they don't. In here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So right now, all the girls do this is their room.
Yeah.
At every stop on the tour, we were treated to a dance presentation by the girls who lived there. After a quick 2-hour trip back through heavy Bangalore traffic, we actually got to spend some time with the girls who live in Chamrajpet and have enjoyed the new court.
Yeah.
Just they gave her he is only managing, you see.
Yeah.
How they can also not the capacity of the children, not like olden days.
The new computer labs that we had provided had recently been installed, and the girls were just starting to get familiar with their new tools. Is there anything that an old guy trying to tell a young girl how to operate a computer? I think it's safe to say that 10 minutes later, she knew more about it than I did.
That drawing is just she's.
sister.
எவ்வளோ ஃபீல் பண்ணுறாரு எனக்கு நான் பண்ண மாதிரி யாருமே பண்ணல எங்கள் ஆர்எஸ்ஆர் பேர் மார்க்ஸ்
சார் மார்க் கொடுக்கலையா
டெக்கரேஷன் எல்லாம் பண்ணி மார்க்ஸே இல்லை செம்ம ஜாலியாக இருந்துச்சு கையெடு
One more trip across Bangalore to visit the 4th and final orphanage where the Rotary Club of Brentwood had its lab.
Hello. How are you doing?
This wonderful day, we all sing together. Greet you with your presence we with you. Give us your blessings sincere. We'll welcome you with flowers and smiles we greet with you. We will be the shining stars. We make the dreams come true. They sing welcome you with flowers and smiles we greet you. We will be the stars. We make the dreams come true. Welcome this day, this wonderful day. We all sing together. Greet you with your presence we with you. Give us your blessings sincere. Happy welcome and peace.
It was so inspiring to meet bright girl after bright girl who just desperately wants to have her chance to make something of her life and is so grateful for our help. I'm so proud to be a member of this club that is creating opportunity for these girls.
You're still figuring out how you're going to use it. Great.
Going to announce, many girls are there around us. Here parents won't send them girls to study. They send them for housework. They won't usually go for higher studies. So many girls are there, those are talented, but I want to make them at least to come here and learn some computers, then they can go out and get into jobs and their life.
Yeah. So we're gonna ask Sister Anna to pick one or two girls who maybe want to do an interview, and we'll do it in a quiet place. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. But I did want to say how grateful we are to have you all in our lives every single night before we have dinner for you. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Doctor.
Doctor. Excellent. You also want to be a doctor. Okay.
What percentage is there?
Go to university.
University now say 60%, no? 40%.
That sounds very high.
See, but the girl one who is doing M.Com is here. B.Com is here, M.Com, B.Com. Then there are pre-university they are doing. Then also graduation they are doing.
Geeta is doing B.Com.
B.Com, all that.
Okay.
Some of those Anita, one saw there, she has finished diploma course. We do not have anybody to help us there. We told her to remain there to look after children and as well as do some household work, and we pay her. We are paying her. What is inbuilt things we are teaching them, like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Tally. It is Tally is very useful.
When they finish up to Tally, easily they get a job.
May God bless you, sha-la-la-la-la. May God bless you, sha-la-la-la. We wish you a happy welcome. We wish you a happy welcome. Happy welcome.
What do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to do for a profession? Dance. You want to be a dancer? Teach. Oh, okay.
Teacher.
Okay. You want to be
An engineer, software engineer, software engineer.
Thanks to you, Drummond.
We will make use of it.
We'll make use of it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you, Nandri, Dhanyava. Vandanegalu, koti vandanegalu. May God bless you.
There we go. So that was our trip. Thanks again to my son for the videography, and then especially to Ty Anderson for putting that together. You can imagine the spot I was in. I had all this footage. I had no idea what to do with it. Sometimes I think we get in trouble with that. So if anyone wants a bright young man who can put that stuff together for their church or work, Ty was great. Does anybody have any questions about this wonderful project that you all did?
Charles, what's the COVID situation over there?
I mean, you know, the same and worse. All their schools are out. You know, usually in May, I get a phone call to put up the tuition that we put up, and they never called because all their schools are closed, just like ours. Needless to say, we know that in our own country, COVID has hit people who work in hourly jobs more than professional jobs, and many of these girls come from communities like that. So, I mean, you know, we passed this big bill that provided benefits for people when suddenly they couldn't go to work, and poor and rural Indians suddenly were facing starvation. So we had there were calls from Homes of Hope, you know, to raise money just to buy grain to distribute it to these villages. It's bad. I mean, you know, we need to. We're so lucky to live in a country where we have a social safety net for times like this, and that just doesn't exist in poorer countries. It's bad. We need to fix this. Anyone else?
Who's are the sisters doing the teaching as well, or do they have volunteers come and teach?
They are teaching. You know, for those of you who may be involved in the Catholic Church, I'm not Catholic, but we're thrilled to be partners with them in this. Boy, do they have a system. Each one of those ladies, you know, has a degree and oftentimes an advanced degree, and they are education professionals. They're nursing and healthcare professionals. It's amazing. The pool of talent and dedication is just shocking. God bless the Catholic Church.
Hey, Charles Stick Powers, is there a link between what we're doing and the schools and the girls and local Rotary clubs?
Absolutely. There are a number. India is full of Rotary clubs. I had no problem finding Rotary clubs.
Are we linked up with a joint project? With
this was a joint project. We, as you know, you have to have a local sponsor, right? A local club supervising it. So we had no problem finding a local Bangalore club to supervise it. They didn't chip in any money. This was all our money and our district money. But they were happy to, you know, do their part.
Be a part.
There's lots of Rotary clubs over there.
Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else? I tried to get, just this morning, you know, my whole family worked on this video in the last couple of days. And it's so much fun to walk into a room and be greeted by girls in pretty dresses, dancing and clapping and singing, "We are glad you were here." And I made what I thought was a very reasonable request, that maybe my daughter and my wife would greet me when I came home from work this way. And I'll let you know. So far, it doesn't look good.
Potentate.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, Charles.
There's my partner. She's not surprised. Anyone else? Look at that, Mr. President. I delivered. Your first presentation is on time.
Awesome. Awesome. And we will work on both the Hamilton type introductions and perhaps choreographing an all-member dance for the next time that you come and speak to us.
That would be fabulous. I'm counting on it.
You know, it's great. Thank you, Charles. I do want to officially thank you for speaking. It's, you know, when we make the decisions to fund certain projects, we sit in the group and we discuss, and we believe that what we're about to do is gonna be good. And then we hear folks like you come back and tell us about what's been done, and we hear the good that we've done. And then it's a whole different level when we can see through the video and hear the actual voices of the girls and see the smiles of the girls, and see the floor and see the computers, and experience that. We appreciate you sharing the video experience with us. That's a different level. And then, of course, another level still, if we go like you and your family did and actually walk through and experience it. And so for all those that are listening, all those that will watch this recorded, we want to do more of this. We want to do more projects like this, and we want to send more Rotarians to experience what we've done, to this one and to others. So thank you, Charles. Thank you for what you and your family have done and are doing, and have encouraged this club to continue to do.
Keely, can I add to that?
Yes.
From a BRCCF standpoint, and I know the members know this, but I think we sometimes forget, we look for our references for where we're going to spend our money from our members. And so Charles brought this to us, and it's been a fabulous project. But there are other fabulous projects out there, I'm sure, that our members are aware of, both locally, in the States, and abroad, that we don't hear anything about. And we've got some money, and we're making money. My little golf tournaments are going to make money. We're going to make money and have money that we want to do just what we did with Charles with. So I would encourage members, anything is open for us to consider. And we would love to have more references like Charles's and like others that we know that are out there. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anybody else that has anything to share for the good of the club? Those in the know, have I missed anything? Don't be afraid to remind me. Thankfully, we do not have to put up chairs and tables.
You've done excellent, Keely.
All right. In that case, be safe, wash your hands, resist the urge to lick your neighbor, and let's adjourn to serve our community and our world.